All right, we're still sitting here with Dan Smith from Vail Mountain Rescue, and we were just talking about some of the cute stories that happen over the summertime. Dan, I think that you should share that one that we just talked about.
We do all hazards. We do everything from crashed aircraft to lost hikers to people that get over-terrained in the winter and all sorts of things. We had one a few years ago in the summer where a family had gone for a family hike up to Lost Lake, which is way up above Homestake Reservoir. So it's pretty high, it's pretty far back. And they were hiking up to the lake, and the grandmother in the group got a little tired, sat down by the side of the trail, said, just pick me up on the way back, which is probably not something you should do. Someone should have stayed with her, but neither here nor there. What the family doesn't know, because they're not from here, is that there are 5 trails up there, and they were only on one of them. And when you come back down from Lost Lake, you can come back down on any of the 5 trails. They came back down on a different trail. They get to the bottom. You can't reach us. There's no communication, no cell phone or anything. Fortunately, this time they're doing dam construction, so the father in the group drove to the dam construction shack because it had a landline. Called in. We send out a bunch of guys. It gets dark. We send out another bunch of guys because we got to cover 5 trails. And immediately your thought is someone in their 80s who was tired. You got all sorts of problems possible, so you really flood the place with manpower. And one team does find her sitting exactly where she was. She was waiting where she was supposed to wait, and get her some water and do a quick medical workup, and she was fine. But this is really dark. It's about 10, 11 o'clock at night, and no moon on that particular night. So you put a helmet on her, walking down, and the helmet's got a headlamp on. She turns on the headlamp, looks up at one of my guys, and says, "You're cute." Well, Attila the Hun would be cute at that hour of the night. Just a very nice family. And we run into, like on the mountain, 99% of our guests are perfectly wonderful people, and 1% should probably find someplace else to ski. It's picking the 1% that's always difficult. So we get some very cute stories. But we also have, we move into our world here. Mm-hmm. Our world is skiing and avalanches and swift water and hikers and cougars and bears and high altitude and all sorts of things. But our guests don't come from that world.
No, they forget that this is the wild.
Oh yeah, this is now you're in my world. And your world is Wall Street, or your world is Miami, or your world is Los Angeles, or wherever. And there are survival skills that you need in those places, and some of them transfer up here, but not very many. There's a whole new set of survival skills. You don't start a hike at 3 in the afternoon going to a pass or a ridge line. You just don't do this. Yes, it's light till 9 o'clock, but it rains about 4 or 5, and lightning comes down, and all sorts of evil things happen. We know this, our guests don't. So most of the problems that a large number of the problems we solve are problems from guests having an incorrect perception of this world. And the more we correct that perception before the incidents occur, the better off we are. So we put things like this and other educational efforts out there. But yet we still do our share of rescuing locals from really screwy situations they've gotten into. It's just the way it is. It gives you an interesting view of your fellow man. It truly does.
For sure.
And so we do that. But moving into Swiftwater, which is first Swiftwater training for us is tomorrow night. And there's still snow on the ground, and we're still talking about avalanche danger, and we're starting to train Swiftwater. Well, Swiftwater requires a lot of training. It's a perishable skill. Nobody's been in the water for 6 or 7 months, and you've lost part of that skill. Now you got to get it back.
Yeah.
So every season we have to recover the skills that we had 12 months previous, and it's just a constant training cycle. And last year we put in almost 12,000 man hours. Wow. About half in training of some nature and about half in missions.
Which is insane. We are unfortunately out of time, so next week we're going to be talking Swiftwater and avalanche danger again, especially because we have more snow on the way.
Oh yeah.
Stay tuned. Make sure that you tune in next week to see what's going on with Vail Mountain and Vail Mountain Rescue. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at that weather forecast with Ashley, so stay tuned.